Hello and welcome to this session in which we will discuss the proportional and the regressive tax rate. In the prior session, we looked at the progressive rate structure. In this session, we will focus on the proportional and the regressive. Now, if you have any doubts about the progressive tax rate, please look at the prior recording. The progressive tax rate is the U.S. federal income tax rate. So it's very important, extremely important that you understand how the U.S. tax rate works, especially if you're taking a tax course. It does not mean that the proportional or the regressive are not important. They are used in different tax need, but the progressive kind of the main one in your income tax course. So let's go ahead and dive deeper into the proportional and the regressive tax rate. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, FarhatLectures.com. You are here because you are serious about mastering taxation. Whether you are taking a tax course, studying for the CPA exam, or enrolled agent, tax feels overwhelming, not because it's impossible, but because it's dense, detailed, and often taught at a pace that doesn't match the way you learn. The rules can feel disconnected, and the logic isn't always explained clearly. At Farhat Lectures, we slow it down. We explain the why behind the rules, break concept into simple steps, and rebuild your understanding from the ground up without assuming any prior knowledge. When explanation matches your learning, everything changes. The confusion fades, the rules start to connect, and tax becomes manageable. If you are ready to understand tax with clarity and confidence, start your free trial at farhatlectures.com and let's build your tax foundation together. Starting with the proportional rate. Another word for proportional is flat. What does that mean? Let me show you. A picture is worth 1,000 words. It means it doesn't matter whether you make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, or $5 million. Your tax rate is the same. It's a flat 10%. So under a proportional tax rate, the tax rate remains constant regardless of the size of your tax base. Your tax base could be 1,000. Your tax base could be $1 million. It does not matter. You pay the same percentage. Because the percentage applies doesn't change as income or value increase, the structure commonly referred to as flat. Flat like this line. It's flat, straight line, flat line. This is why it's called a straight line. Do we have this system in the US? And the answer is yes. If you are familiar with the US tax system, most often state and local. For example, I live in Pennsylvania. My local rate is 1% and my state rate is 3.07%. That's it. Whether I make $1, $10, or $1 million, I'll pay, as long as my tax base is subject to the tax, I pay the same rate on all this earnings. So under this structure, all taxpayers are subject to the same percentage, even though the total amount of tax paid may differ due to the differences in tax base. So what's going to happen is you will pay the same percentage of your income, but obviously the more you make, the more you pay. But as a percentage, it's the same. A lot of people believe that's a fair system. Why? In contrast to the progressive, it says what? The more you make, the more you pay. In the flat, the more you pay, the more you make, the more you pay, but only in the same percentage as the other individual. Doesn't matter. There's no tax bracket. Everyone in the same tax bracket. And that tax bracket, for example, here is 10%. Let's take a look at more examples of a proportional rate structure, flat tax. In the US, certain federal payroll taxes also reflect proportional characteristics. For example, the Medicare tax applied uniform to earned income without declining as income rises. For example, the Medicare tax rate is 1.45. Now there's an additional tax we'll see later, but generally speaking is 1.45%. Although higher income taxpayer remit a greater total dollar amount, the rate applied. So if I'm making 100,000, I will multiply this by 1.45. If I am making $1 million, I will multiply this by the same percentage. It's flat, proportional, the same. So from a policy perspective, proportional taxes are often promoted for their simplicity and perceived neutrality.
everyone is paying the same percentage. Now, periodically, proposal arise to replace the progressive federal income tax with a single flat rate applied to all taxpayers. Now, what's the appeal here? The appeal here, everyone is paying the same percentage versus the progressive, the ability to pay. The more you pay, the more you make, the more you pay. Now, just from a simplicity perspective, I want you to think of this. If we're looking at a taxpayer that's making $100,000 a year versus a taxpayer that's making $1 million, so the $100,000 will pay $10,000, and the $100,000 will pay $100,000. Percentage-wise, they're paying the same. But think about someone who's making $100,000, a couple, family making $100,000. The $10,000 is a lot of their income. It's taken up, although it's the same percentage, but it's going to eat up a lot of their ability to live versus someone who's making $1 million. After they pay their taxes, they still have $900,000. And this couple, after they pay their taxes, they have $90,000. So a family with 2 or 3 kids, this family will struggle under a system like this, although it's perceived fair, but it's taxing them more because they're not making as much. So such proposal generally shift the tax burden away from higher income taxpayer and toward lower and middle income, and that's why people don't like it when compared to progressive. Under the progressive, the 1 million will have to pay more in taxes. Now let's move from the proportional, the flat tax, to the regressive tax structure. What's a regressive tax structure? It's characterized by a tax rate that goes down as the tax bases increase. The more I make, the less I pay? Yeah, that's what a regressive is. In practical terms, taxpayer with higher level of income or value subject to a tax pay a smaller percentage of their total base than those with lower level. Now, do we have any sort of regressive tax system? Yes, our Social Security payroll system is a regressive. Why? Because when it comes to Social Security, you pay Social Security tax up to a certain amount. For example, in 2026, you pay Social Security up to $184,500. Now, keep in mind, this number will change from year to year. Once that ceiling is reached, no additional tax is imposed above that limit. So here's what's going to happen. Let's assume we have 3 employees, employee X, Y, and Z. The first employee X made $45,000. The Social Security tax rate is 6.2%. If we take $45,000, and since this individual, remember, we have a limit. And what's the limit? The limit is $184,500, and it changes every year. So if you're looking at this at 2028, 2027, please don't panic. Just the limit will change, but the concept will stay the same. So the limit is $184,500. So this employee X is right here. Employee X, this is employee X here. Let me just put employee X is here. So employee X, what they will do is they will take the $45,000 and they'll have to pay 6.2%. And as a result, their tax bill in Social Security is $2,790 as an employee. Okay, great. Then we have employee Y earned $90,000. If they earn $90,000, this is employee Y, they earn $90,000, and we multiply this amount by the rate is, I should have put the rate here, the rate is 6.2%, and they will pay $5,580. Great. Now employee Z. Employee Z is right here. And what's special about employee Z? What's special about employee Z? His or her earnings are above the limit. Remember, there's a limit of $184,500 that changes every year. What does that mean? It means employee Z only pays 6.2% on the $184,500, and let's perform this computation. $184,500 500 times 6.2%, they will pay in taxes 11,439. So this is how much they'll pay in taxes, and they will stop. Why? Because their earning reached a limit, and every additional dollar they earn going forward is Social Security tax free. So what does that mean? It means on average the effective rate that they pay on their earning, because they earned 250,000, if we take 11,439 and divided by 250, their effective tax rate is 4.57%, which is lower than employee Y, lower than employee X in terms of percentage. Now, if another employee made $500,000, their effective tax rate will be cut in half again. And the more you make, the less percentage you pay, because Social Security stop at a certain point. Now you might be asking, especially if you're outside the US, or if you are within the US, why do they stop taking Social Security tax from you? The reason is simple, because this money is for your retirement later, and when you retire, the government will pay you a limited amount of money. Therefore, when you contribute, you also contribute a limited amount. The more you make, the more you pay, up to a certain amount that's adjusted every year. And when you retire, or when you receive any form of Social Security, you get paid up to a certain amount. Therefore, you are limited in your Social Security income, because that's the check you will be receiving. Now, remember we talked about the Medicare. The Medicare is 1.45. The Medicare is for your medical cost after retirement. Now, we don't know how much you're going to cost the government, whether you're going to cost the government $10,000 in medical, or I know people that cost the government millions of dollars, or you might cost the government $10 million because you are getting medical care. At this point, you are retired and you qualify for the medical care. Therefore, you don't stop paying. It's flat forever. So regressive taxes are often criticized because they impose a relatively heavier burden on lower income taxpayers who pay a higher proportion of their income in tax than higher income taxpayers. So you understand this. Despite this concern, regressive taxes remain a significant component, which is part of the Social Security. So the regressive, basically, as you make more, the percentage of your income goes down. Now let's take a look at the big picture here, and we have the top 1% earners. How would the top 1% earners, people that make a lot of money under a progressive, regressive, and proportional? We're going to look at the top 1 and the lowest 20%. And those are not, just as a picture to show you what's happening. Under a progressive system, the top 1% earners, they're supposed to pay the most. So the more you make, the more you pay in taxes. Under a regressive system, the more you make, the less you pay. And remember, we talked about the Social Security as an example. We don't have a regressive, but you understand that the more you make, so if we have a regressive tax system, the top 1% will pay the least in terms of a percentage of their income. Now, we have the proportional. Under the proportional, it does not matter whether you are in the top 1% or the lowest 20%, everyone pays the same amount. But the argument is the proportional is effectively a regressive, because the proportional, as I showed you earlier, it imposes a higher burden for lower and middle income families than a person that's making $1 million or more, because they can afford to pay the same percentage and still live comfortably, versus someone who's making 150 with 2 to 3 kids, imposing the same rate as someone who's making $1 million. Although it's the same percentage, it's going to eat up a larger amount of their purchasing power, so they can enjoy their money way less. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. Which characteristic distinguishes a regressive from a proportional tax? Now, if you're taking this quiz on Farhat Lectures, you could always ask the AI to explain the topic, what's regressive, what's proportional, before you answer the question. But I would assume that you would look at the lectures, look at the material before getting to the multiple choice. So the first answer is the total taxes paid decline as income increases. Do the taxes that you pay go down as your income increases? No, not the taxes that you pay. not the taxes. The amount of taxes might stay the same as income increases, but it does not decline. That will be nice. I mean, you pay less taxes as you make more, therefore the more you make, the more it goes down. No, it doesn't work that way. The marginal tax rate increases as income decreases. This sounds like a proportional. Your tax rate goes up as your income goes up, which has nothing to do with regressive or proportional. The effective tax rate decline as the tax base increases. So the effective tax rate, so the average, how much you pay as a tax rate goes down as your income increases. Did we see this? Yes. This is an example of Social Security. As you make more, your tax rate, your effective tax rate, how much you're effectively paying, goes down as a percentage of your tax base. This distinguishes this from proportional. Proportional, you always pay the same amount. Your effective tax rate does not change. But under regressive, it declines. And that's what differentiates regressive from proportional. Let's go back and look at the Social Security. Remember, Social Security is regressive because as you make more, your tax rate goes down. You're still paying more taxes than employee Y and employee X, but as a rate, it's going down. So the answer is C, not D. The tax imposed is only at the federal level. No, it's not. So a regressive tax is defined as the declining effective tax rate. Rate is a percentage as the tax base increases. The classic example is Social Security in the United States. As you make above a certain amount, every year that amount changes, you stop paying. As you stop paying Social Security tax and you earn more, the amount that you paid becomes a lower percentage of your overall income. What should you do now? Whether you are a CPA, EA, tax student, or accounting student, go to Farhat Lectures, look at podcast, AI resources, notes, video simulation, video MCQs. The best investment you can make is invest in yourself. Good luck and God bless.